And welcome everyone to a special night of a special episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight's guest, some of you may remember from last season, making her epic return to the show. Yeah, do you like how I threw that epic in there for you? Well, tonight's show is going to be a little bit different because there's something that Jessiy has that she'd like to share with everyone, but we're going to actually get to that later.
Okay.
Before that, we have an exciting episode. She's got some really cool information to share with us. And you'll notice in the upper left hand corner of the screen, I have a lovely QR code now. If you feel like you would like to donate to the show, you are more than welcome to. I don't get paid for this. Jessiy doesn't get paid for this. None of us get paid for this. We're doing this out of the kindness of our hearts. And if you would like to support us to keep shows like this on the air, please feel free to do so. It's totally up to you. And with that being said, I am now going to turn it over to the one, the only, super paranormal extraordinaire, Jessiy Hawthorne.
Oh, thank you so much for the intro. I know I can't believe I think it was May last year that I was on here last. So I got a new
Yes.
microphone now, up to lots of stuff. You made our faces bigger. I was like, whoa, shit.
Yeah, I kind of forgot to mention that in the pre-show little chat that yeah, people were commenting to me that they have a hard time seeing on cell phone, so they were like, "Make the
Oh,
pictures bigger," and so I was like, "Okay, I can do
okay.
that."
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I was like, I think that's a phone like screen on the side. Okay, interesting. Stuff's different. Well, you've
That
grown a
is
lot.
new for StreamYard too. It is what the cell phone sees,
Oh,
and
nice.
so
That's cool. Yeah. I haven't this is the first time I've seen that, so that's really neat. Uh so last night I was actually on one of my friend's shows, and it's not out yet, but it will be out, but I actually got to chit chat with Patty Negri. That was fun. So yeah,
ooh,
that was what I did last night, and I'm like, "Oh, and then I got tonight, so it's going to be fun."
we'll try not to disappoint.
Oh, you're good. It was my buddy had me, Patty, and then my friend Diet all on there, like all on the show, and it was funny because it was like about psychics. So obviously Patty was like, the most famous, and then Diet is second, and then I'm still just starting stuff and understanding stuff. So I was like the baby. So it was kind of
Ah,
cool.
don't sell yourself short.
It's like expert, intermediate, beginner level. That was really funny. Somebody, oh, okay. I've got the comments going on the side too, because I didn't do that last time, and since then, like I've learned a lot about StreamYard and everything. But let's see. So yeah, last time I was on, I was chit chatting about like how I grew up on the Indian burial ground and some of the experiences that I've had, and how the house has been like calling me back, which is it's still happening. I have an itch and I have to go there. I have a team now. I'm part of Spire Paranormal, which is SPIRE, and we do go investigate places. So if I do end up getting the permission from the owner to investigate the old property, I'd have my team, and then also my buddy Larry, who does a lot of film stuff. I'm going to invite him if he'd like to come with to film some stuff, because I'm very curious what we would get. Because when I was living there, I didn't think to investigate. I investigated graveyards. I didn't think to investigate my own, like where I lived, even though I should have, because that's where all the crazy shit happened, was on that property.
Yeah, and I kind of, I'm curious too, as to see what would happen, being
Mhm.
screw up if, they would be like, hey, she's back, or be like, you left us, so we're not talking to you.
I know, I'm, like, dying to know how it would be, if it would be as active as it was when I was growing up or not as active, because I still don't know, like, what's there. I just know the stuff I experienced, and I know a lot more now about the paranormal, and, like, all like, different types of investigations or investigative methods and stuff, so I wanna put everything that I've learned since I left there and to the test and go there and do, like, an Estes method or have different types of cameras and stuff and everything. That's what I would love to do. So that's hopefully in the future. I gotta talk with the owner about it, if he would be open to my team investigating the property since it's still derelict. Like there's nobody's living there. The house isn't finished still. And from what he's told me, it's all due to like citations and permits and stuff. We left there in 2013. So he's had the property for 13 years now and it's still not a livable house. Like what they did to it. So it's interesting to me. I have a theory actually about that. So when we lived there, there was a gigantic old oak tree in the front. It wasn't in the greatest shape, but we weren't going to cut it down. And then we had like these privacy bushes along each yard, and my mom planted stuff. We had our own like kind of pet cemetery back there. So we added to the land a lot. We never really took away from the land. The new owners, they cut down that old oak tree. So that was like, you might not have wanted to do that because it's an Indian burial ground, but okay. And then they tore out all the privacy bushes that we had on each side of the yard. So you can see into the backyard and the front yard now. Before you couldn't, there were bushes on each side. And then they also destroyed about a half an acre of the wooded area that was in the backyard. So like the creek all the way to the cornfield, all those trees are like gone. Same with the pet cemetery, they disturbed that. They took out the 2 apple trees that we had out front. So I'm wondering if the land and the property is like, you're not gonna live here. And they're having supernatural reason or like supernatural stuff's happening, and that's why they can't get these permits or the citations or whatever it is they need for like construction stuff to continue construction. That's my theory. I would love to go there and ask that.
Oh, it makes sense to me, especially if they didn't ask permission, because
Mhm.
that's something people don't think about is, you know, there's more than one dimension or
Yeah.
reality in one space. So you mess with one, you mess with them all.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like in Ireland and England, even they have like, well, you cut down this tree and you upset the fae or the elementals, so you need to plant a fruit tree or something, and as an apology, give them tobacco and cream or something. So out there, they kind of understand it. Here, not really. Like the natives did, but like a lot of America doesn't or refuses to understand that there are other dimensions where we're not the only ones. We can only see 10% of the light spectrum. Like there's a lot that we can't see, you know?
Right.
So I
And
found that
so,
interesting.
yeah, and one thing I might point out is, you going back there, there's a third option you didn't mention, and that is more activity than when you were there.
Right. The owner says that he gets growled at a lot, like from the woods and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that happened to me too. And he goes, yeah, I don't really think much about it. I just growl back at whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, I didn't do that, but okay.
Why not growl back, Something's growling at
There
you,
you
why
go.
not growl back?
Right. So yeah, I've no idea what's there. I'm very, very curious to find that out. So that's one of the updates that I have about the property. Like there's some people have said you should just close that chapter, and like part of me is like, yeah, I want to do that, but I feel like I need to go there with no fear and try and figure out what's there and why all that stuff happened and everything. So like I'm still trying to get rid of the fear that I have because that place was a living hell for me growing up. So that's one thing I've been working on. Excuse me.
Well, it could also bring you a lot of closure.
Yeah, that's another thing is it will bring me closure. I just have this thing of I think because of the fact I was so afraid, whatever was there fed off of it maybe. So if I go in there without fear, maybe it won't be as I don't want to say negative because I don't know what it is. It won't be as like prominent. I don't know. It's hard to explain what I'm thinking. Like I don't want to get rocks thrown at me. That's for sure.
Oh man, I started thinking of a lot of with rocks fly going. Oh, a lot of scenarios. Yeah, none of them are good though.
Right.
Although, if they no, not even wrapped in snow. I was gonna say if it's still winter time, you might get a break there.
Right. Just have to we could go in the woods a little bit further than if it was spring or summer. So think that's what I'm thinking about doing. I mean, I'm still in the process of finishing up my book because it's like I'll start it and then I hit like a block and then I'm like, I don't really know where to go from here. And like when I did start it, it just like I didn't even realize what I typed. I just boop, 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 went and then went back about like 2 or 3 weeks later. I'm like, okay, I haven't I need to write something down. Like I just remembered this memory that popped up. And I go in there, I'm like, oh, what did I even type? And I'm reading, I'm like, I don't remember typing most of this. Holy crap. It just like flowed through me.
Yeah, it's amazing when that happens. And I was talking with a friend about writing, and they say when your energy and your spirit and everything is in alignment to
Hmm.
what you're writing, the topic, you can write it in a month or less. You
Yeah.
can write it fast. If
Hmm.
you're not, any one of those out of alignment, they're like, yeah, it could take you longer. You'll still get it done, but it just won't be as quick
Hmm.
until you get yourself back in alignment. And
Right.
so, but the thing about it is, don't rush it. Don't, like force it. Just, let it happen and, just let it flow. And then when you feel it's done, be like, okay, we're done. Find someone to edit it and get you a
Yeah.
cover and off you go.
Yeah. It's my first book, so like I'm learning and I got so many friends, like including you that have written books and have like talked to me about different stuff. Like, oh, you'll have to do this, you'll have to do that. I'm like, okay, noted. Not exactly there yet. I gotta finish it first. And I've had people like, oh, are you done with your book yet? No, sorry, because a lot of people want to read like the full story from, beginning to end and to today and
Right.
everything.
Yeah. The one advice I will give you for the book, just to save you a lot of time and headache, is most books I was told are like 9 by 6. So wherever you're typing the book, preset your margins to 9 by 6.
Hmm.
So then when you go to upload it and make the book, it's all done. You don't have to go back and resize everything and refigure
Okay.
everything.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah,
I've been
you
using
can.
Google Docs for mine.
Yeah, I used Word for mine, and I used Amazon to publish my books. And one of the things they ask is when you upload the manuscript, because they're very trying to sound like real publisher types. And so they were like, "What size is your book going to be? Is it going to be 9 by 6, or you know?" There's options, and so you pick the one that you're going to use, and it's easier if it's already lined up. So that's just something to keep in mind. Is to, you know, save yourself some headaches down the road.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by one of the comments in the
No,
chat room.
I'm reading them too.
I'm like, who is, do you know Gerardo Torres?
I don't think so. What is the wife password? Maybe they're asking what's the Wi-Fi password, but why would they be saying that here?
Yeah. I'm like, I'd hope you'd already be connected.
That's
Okay. Well,
interesting.
as much fun as that would be to engage with, is I do have to say I am really interested to hear your experiences at this one location because I've heard mixed reviews. So I'm really curious your experiences with the Waverly Hills.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a trip and a half. It was so much fun. There was 15 people. I got invited by a friend of mine. And that's one thing that Steve and I have in common is we've always wanted to go there. Me, for paranormal, him, kind of paranormal. He's not into it as much as I am, but he's always wanted to go there because of the history. So we were like, he's like, yeah, I'm coming with you. You're putting me in a suitcase. I don't care. I'm coming with you. I'm like, all right, well, let's make it a little mini trip. So I got us like this little cottage and stuff, about 45 minutes out of Louisville. Um, so going to it in person, it is huge. Like I've seen it on TV, obviously everybody has, and I've heard people say that it's a big location, and yeah, when you get there, it's like it's gigantic. So that was definitely like a wow moment. And then so I went in there cold. That's what I've been doing a lot lately is I don't look up history. Like I know, little bits here and there just, cuz it's Waverly. Um but I didn't know everything. I know obviously it's tuberculosis and stuff and they I didn't know so there was I'll talk about this in a minute. There was a floor there. The only time I've ever felt this was at my old house. The most uncomfortable, like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. I wanna say negative, but I don't know if it's negative. It could just be all of the energy that's on that floor, but later on, I found out, like, it felt off, like, I could not stop crying, like, it was bad. So, we walked in, we did, like, a mini tour, kind of, like, during the daylight so we could kinda see where we were going. There's only one staircase that goes to the 5th floor, which is in the middle of the building. Um, so I didn't really know what was happening. I'm just like, "Okay, so, how's this go? What are we doing?" And my buddy's like, "Yeah, whatever you wanna do." And I was like, "Oh, so me and Steve can just go wherever?" He goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "What?" And Steve goes, "What?" He's like, "We can just go fuck off wherever we want. It's not like here's this room and here's that room. We can do whatever we want." And he was so excited. So he's like, "All right, we're going to the roof right now. Let's go watch the sunset on the roof." And I'm like, "Okay." So that's where we went first. So we went up to the 5th floor and went to the one of the sides of the roof where you could actually see like you can see like the hills and stuff. It's really, really pretty. So watch the
That's
sunset on
actually
the 5th floor.
genius.
What's up?
I said, that's actually genius. I would never think to go to a location and say, let's go on the roof.
I think that was his way of saying like let's do something cute.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to watch the sunset with me, like on the roof of Waverly, because you can see miles. So we did that, and then we were like, all right, well, we can look around up here on the 5th floor. Steve bought me a pair of dowsing rods there, so I finally have dowsing rods. So I was getting the hang of those, and from what I've been hearing from a lot of my friends and fellow investigators, I get some of the best dowsing rod answers that they've ever seen. And so it's like they're connected to me. So I've been using those a lot. Like even at home I use them. So where did we go after the roof? I think we went back. We checked out 502, which is um I didn't know this at the time. I felt a woman, and I felt she was in like some type of pain, and that she definitely died in that room. And it turns out, oh, there was a nurse that either A, g homicide, or B, she killed herself, and that's still up in the air because nobody knows, you know? Investigators have gotten both stories. And then I was also picking up, like, somebody being pushed off the roof. Like, I was picking all of this up on the 5th floor, and I'm like, "Interesting." And then, so we tried to connect with her, didn't really get much. And then we went down, Steve wanted to go to, was it the death shoot next? I can't remember which were. So I know when we went to the death shoot, we didn't get anything. I've heard how horrible that place is, like the body shoot. And I still have some back issues, but back in June when we went, like I was in a lot of pain. So I had pain patches on and everything. I'm like, "Oh, I can't, I'm not walking down this." Cuz again, TV, you see it, you don't realize how steep it is until you are right next to it. It's like 45-degree angle. It's like, it's very steep. So I told him, I'm like, "I'll go maybe halfway down. I'm not going all the way down." And he's like, "Oh, I will. I want to do it by myself." I'm like, "Okay." So he walked all the way down to the bottom, and I was like, he goes, "Babe, we should turn our flashlights off." And it echoed really loud. So I'm like, "Okay." So we turned our flashlights off, and he's down there giggling like an idiot. And then I heard, it was raining and stuff. So I heard 2 wet footsteps behind me. So I was like, "Really?" And I turned my flashlight on and I look, of course, nobody's there. And I was like, "Okay, hi." Like, I don't feel anything negative. So, just please no touching. If you want to try to communicate, we can do that. Just don't touch me, please. And I kept hearing footsteps on the concrete around me. So I'm just like, "I'm going to go back up." So I was like, "Babe, I'm going to go sit in the chair that's at the top of the chute." He's like, "Okay." So I sat there for a little bit while he walked up and he was taking pictures and video and stuff. There's a video that he was going to try to take a picture. So like he, it was actually accidentally on like looking at him mode on his phone. And he goes, "Oh, God damn it." And then you hear like a scream in the background. I didn't hear that. And I was on the top. I was like, "Wait, that was when I was on the top because I heard you go, oh, God damn it," because it was so echoey. But yeah, you hear him go, "Oh, God damn it." And then you hear a scream on the video. I'm like, "Okay, that's interesting." So that was the body shoot. Um, and then we decided to go to the 4th floor, which the only thing I knew about that floor was I was told to be careful and that shadows are seen a lot on the 4th floor. As soon like anytime we went past the door, I got a pit in my stomach. Like I haven't felt that way since the old house that I grew up in. And so we walked onto the floor, and then just I'm bawling my ass off, like tears going down my cheeks. I'm like crying hysterically. And I looked at Steve and I'm like, "Here is a perfect example of my abilities so you understand them. Do I have anything to be upset about?" He goes, "No, not that I'm aware of." And I'm like, "Why would I be crying like this?" He goes, "I don't know." And he's like all freaked out. And I was like, "Okay, I don't know what's here, but I'm feeling it. It's very, very strong." So I was like, I did what I usually do. "Can you please back up? I can't function. Please back up a little bit. This is too strong right now." It still didn't go away. So I walked off the floor and it went away. And I'm like, "Oh my God, like this is crazy how like strong the feeling was." I've never felt anything in any location like that before, to where it just brought me to my knees to tears. Um, so I walked back on, started crying again, and then I walked to the outside where like there's the outside, like the porches and stuff where they had people laying. I can't think of the right word. I don't really want to say balcony, but I walked out off that way and I was able to breathe. And I'm like, "Okay, so it's the hallway for some reason that's doing this to me." And like the best way to describe it is just like the most horrible, utter despair, like sorrow you've ever felt in your life, like times 100. It was horrible. And I was so uncomfortable on that floor. Like I was gripping Steve's hand so hard I thought I was gonna break it. And he's like, "We gotta walk to each side, babe. You know that's what I want to do." I'm like, I know. I'm just trying. Like I can't block any of this out, no matter how hard I tried. Like I was trying to block it out, and I just could not block that floor out. And he was seeing shadows and stuff, and he actually was like, "This is the only time I've ever felt anything. I feel like everybody's heads are outside of the room and they're staring at me. Like, this is cool." I'm like, "Fuck you. It is not cool. I am so uncomfortable right now." But anytime we went past that floor, he literally would open the door and go stand in the hallway in the dark just so he could feel the paranormal, because he doesn't feel much like at all, and he's never really experienced anything, and he's like, "This is the only time I felt anything. This is so cool." And we walked to the end of one of the so it kind of like is like a big section, like then there's an end on each side. Well, one of the ends, I have no idea how we missed this the first time we were on the fourth floor, but there was a surgery room. And again, I did no research. I didn't realize that, but when I was there, like I felt like a psych ward kind of too, like unstable. And it turns out that the fourth floor was the surgery floor as well as like the mental health floor. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that. That explains why the energy was so chaotic and so thick on that floor, because people were waiting to get their lungs taken out or their ribs broken or God knows what else they did for the tuberculosis." Um so that would explain like why there was such strong despair there, because people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna die," and they were on that floor. At least that's what I feel. So after the fourth floor, we went on the third floor or the second floor. I think it was the second floor. Um, no, it was the third floor. We went down one, and when we got to that floor, I don't know what it was, but something was draining the shit out of me. Like I was exhausted. Like I could barely walk. So again, I asked it to please back off. You're, draining too much of my energy. And I ironically I set a REM pod up and then poof, battery died. So I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then my flashlight started flickering. I'm like, "No, don't you dare." Like cut out my flashlight. And I told Steve, I was like, "All right, if you want to explore, go ahead. I need to sit," because they had random folding chairs set up everywhere. So the one was on the balcony of the third floor. So I sat down. I'm just chilling, listening, because it's, summer in Kentucky. So it's pretty freaking warm and there's bugs and lightning bugs and everything. So I'm just trying to gather my energy and ground myself again so nothing could, drain me. And I just happened to like look a little bit towards my right, and where Steve was, I could see his flashlight like going around, and he got attacked by bats. Like he had bats flying at his head and shit. So that was really funny. So because
Did he do the Batman thing?
he's obsessed with Batman, so he was making Batman jokes all night. So I just hear him go, "Oh fuck," and then he's like, "Oh, are you serious? God damn it!" I'm like, "What's the matter?" It's like, "There's freaking bats on this floor," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot there were bats here. I forgot to tell you about that because he's 6'1". So I was like, "You should probably turn your flashlight out, babe." And right before he did that, I saw this. So I haven't even explored the floor yet. We walked a little bit, and I went straight to the balcony. I don't know which rooms or what, like nothing. I saw this very shadowy figure that was, I don't know, maybe 3 foot tall, 2.5, 3 feet tall, like just a misty figure. And it literally was, so as Steve was turning his light out, I saw it. So I saw like a head, and then I saw the black misty figure, and then his flashlight went out, and I was like, okay, what was that?" So I got up and I went to investigate. It's literally a brick wall, and then it goes into, there's no windows. So it went into a room that would have had windows. And I was like, "Babe, come here." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I'm pretty much where you left me. I'm just in the hallway." So he comes, and I was like, I told him what happened. I'm like, "It was this room right here. So we got to find the entrance to this room." we find the entrance to this room, and there's fucking children toys in there. So I think I saw a kid ghost. Like, that's the only thing that's what it looked like a black mist the size of a child. And the room that it was standing in front of had like a dollhouse and like little race cars and teddy bears in that room. There was no other room on that floor that had that. That was the only one that did. And I was just like, that's weird. Okay. And then it turns out that's the floor or the room that I guess Timmy is seen in a lot or seen around. There's a little boy ghost named Timmy there. Didn't know that. So I was like, okay, that's more validation of what I saw. Interesting. And then at 3:00, we decided to go to the 4th floor one more time because again, I go on that floor a lot, and I'm like, all right, you are lucky. I'll do it. Fine. Because I don't know when we're going to be back here. And set up chairs, and I set up a REM pod. Steve kept seeing shadows, and I had my dowsing rods going. Oh, one other thing. So Steve decided to lay in the morgue drawer in the morgue on the 1st floor. And he went in head first. Everybody else I know did feet first. And he goes, well, technically, how I laid was how they would have laid. So he's laying back with this flashlight, and he can see, outside the end of the morgue drawer. I was off to the side using the dowsing rods, asking what floor we should go to next. And it went 1 and then 2. I'm like, okay, so we should go to 2, and it went to yes. And I was like, can you point to where you're at? And they pointed to this one area, and then Steve goes, babe, where are you at? And I was like, I'm over here, like leaning against the wall where I originally was. Why? And he goes, I just saw something like, I don't know, like a shadow, and he used his flashlight right there, and it was literally where my dowsing rods pointed. And I was like, oh, interesting. All right, I'll tell you when you get out. So I told him, and he was like, I don't know, maybe I'm just tired. I'm like, no, I think you saw a shadow figure or something, because my dowsing rods literally pointed right before you used your flashlight to show me where you saw something. So that was definitely funny.
And
yeah, the
I don't
surgery.
know anybody who goes feet to the door and yeah,
Yep.
that's new to me. I'm like, nope. I've always seen it
You
and
go in and
experienced
then
the
your head's
head
sticking
comes
out.
out.
Yeah. No, he did the fucking opposite. And it's so funny because my friend Larry did the same thing, but he went in feet first. And Steve's like, well, I was able to see, and that's technically how the dead bodies were in this, the head first. So that's why I did it.
Yeah,
Somebody, hello, hi. Um, so that was definitely really funny. And then again, yeah, we went back to the 4th floor around 3, and he kept so the way that the one surgery room was it was like off to the side. So there's like a mini hallway that looked into an atrium. So he was sitting right under the surgery light, and I had a REM pod on a chair in front of him, and then I was off to the side with the dowsing rods, and he kept seeing shadows like walking around and walking back and forth. So I thought that was interesting. And he's like, oh, are you a worker? And they went to yes. And are you a nurse? They went to yes. And he's like, oh, are you doing your rounds? And they went to yes. So that was the information that we got. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, and then we had to leave at around 4-ish. So about like a month or two late, no, a couple months afterwards, my friend that invited me, he has his own podcast. So he decided to have everybody that was there on the podcast to talk about what happened. Obviously, Steve wants nothing to do with that because he hates cameras. So he's like, you do that. I'm not doing that. I'm like, okay, fine. And so earlier, how I said I kept feeling like a woman was pushed off the roof. another psychic there. Like, so me and Steve were by ourselves pretty much the whole time, and unless we went to home base, which was in the basement that had air conditioning and had water, because you couldn't bring anything really in the building. You had to go down there for it. And they had working bathrooms. I was very happy about that. So whenever we went to home base, we would see everybody, say hi, rest for a little bit, then go back into the building. So there were two other psychics there, and one of the psychics, she said, we were all just chit-chatting and we were talking about the fifth floor, and she was saying how she connected with this nurse that says that she got pushed off of the roof because one of the doctors got her pregnant. And I'm like, what? And I was like, okay, I have to say this. So when we were on the fifth floor, like we went there first, I kept feeling like I wanted to jump off the roof almost. Like I kept feeling like pushed off the roof, jump off the roof or something like that. And it felt from a female. And she was like, oh yeah. And so that was interesting to me. So that was validation. And then when I think it was one of the other psychics was talking about, they were trying to communicate on the fourth floor by the surgery room, and they kept picking up a nurse that was doing her rounds in the atrium outside of the surgery room. And I was like, that's what I picked up. And then I kept picking up this name, Lois, and it turns out she has a room on the second floor, and it's the only one that has furniture in it. And so I was like, okay, that's interesting. So that was who I was talking to in the morgue, because it kept telling me to go to the second floor, and I picked up the name Lois, and they confirmed that there was somebody there named Lois, and her room has the furniture and stuff in it. So it's like, wow, a lot of the stuff that I was picking up, other people picked up. And then I explained how I felt on the fourth floor. One of the other psychics, I guess, could not go on the third floor, which the third floor was uncomfortable, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the fourth floor for me. But yeah, I make sure we don't have attachments. So I made sure we both rubbed our feet in black salt when we left. I didn't get touched at all. Steve thinks he got touched when he was in the morgue drawer, like something touched his calf, and he saw a fuck ton of shadow figures. I didn't really see any shadow figures, but my eyesight sucks with my glasses. I need my contacts. But I was more of like, I could feel everything instead of like physically. Like I don't think we heard any. Yeah, we didn't hear any like loud bangs or voices or anything like that. Audibly, we did on the one video that he got by accident. And I don't know why I didn't think to video stuff or really take that many pictures. They didn't really want pictures with flash though as well there, because that'll damage the building. So I'm trying to think. That's pretty much all the crazy parts about Waverly, and I've been rambling on a long time about that. I feel bad now. It's like 8:40.
Oh no, you're fine. And I'm just kind of curious your thoughts on, we look at locations and we notice what we see, what we feel, and everything, and try to determine, is it the building, the land? But I've started noticing, is it even our timeline? Is it our dimension, so to speak?
Right.
And so I'm wondering if you had any occurrences or any experiences where you'd be like, well, this may not have been our time or our dimension that came through.
I mean, I have that feeling too. Like there are times, so like the Tinker Swiss Cottage in Rockford, Illinois, I've been there like 10 times now. That place, you definitely pop through timelines in a way, because the family is still there. But then there's times where they're talking with you and it's almost like they're there in their time, and like you punctured through in a way, like the way that they answer, and they answer very quickly. That place is definitely one of the more interesting places. Waverly, I'm pretty sure there are certain traumatic things that are on a loop there probably, so it might be like the stone tape theory, if you want to call it that. Or maybe like the nurse that's doing the rounds. Steve kept seeing a shadow, like walking back and forth, like doing rounds. So maybe we were seeing that timeline, and she's not dead, because technically nobody that we contacted said they were dead, actually, now that I think about it. Like, I'm not like, "Are you dead?" Like, I don't like to say that anyways, but um that's like, but like there's the one woman that me and that other psychic felt like she got pushed off the roof. I think she knows that she's dead because she said she was killed. But the nurse that Steve kind of saw and I contacted with the dowsing rods, she didn't say anything about being dead, just that she was doing her rounds. So,
Interesting. And
yeah.
I have another interesting theory for you. I'm curious if you've ever thought about, and it kind of deals with the shadows. Is yes, there are shadow beings that, do, mischievous things and
Mhm.
cause problems, but there's also shadows that are helpful, beneficial, like kind of like teachers.
Yeah, I think we talked about this
And
last time too, yeah. No, they're not all
well, I've had a new conclusion to the theory come up, and
Mhm.
that is, I don't know where your stance on like extraterrestrials and
Oh, I could talk about that all day.
everything. And I was, I started thinking, how does our first contact work? Well, we study people and then we gather enough information and approach them. Well, what if shadow beings are ETs studying us to
Mhm.
make first contact? So I'm curious, with all the shadows that you both experienced, did you ever get a feeling like, hey, you may not actually be from around here?
Maybe on my property, Waverly, I didn't really get that. I felt a lot of people and a lot of people emotions there instead of something unfamiliar. So I think Waverly definitely has its stamp in time, if you want to put it that way. What it was, what happened there. I didn't really feel any extraterrestrial presences, and I've been around them before because I do the CE5s and stuff, so the close encounters of the fifth kind. So I've been in the presence of extraterrestrial beings, and they have a different vibe, I guess, energy. Like one time, when I first started doing CE5s, my friend, he was in contact with like these orbs that floated around his house all the time, and I was telling him that was like I was freezing. I couldn't get warm, and I just had the worst migraine for like 3 days now, and I don't know what it was. I was doing meditations and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, you've been getting downloads." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Why don't you ask them to like ease up a little bit, because you can't function, because they never want to hurt you. They want you to have the information." And I'm like, "Okay." So I was like, "Could you please ease up a little bit? Like, I can't function. I've got a migraine. I haven't been eating or sleeping." And next thing I know, I felt like my whole body was goosebumps, and I felt this euphoric like love feeling. Like, I can't even explain it. The only other time I felt that was from touch, or not touching, 'cause you're not allowed to touch it, but from meditating with the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull, because I've been able to be in the presence of that like 4 different times. That's the only other time I had that euphoric, like just loving warmth feeling. It's really like a hug from the universe. So that happened, and then my headache went away, and then I wasn't cold anymore. I was like toasty warm. Like, it literally felt like a warm hug around me. It was freaking weird. So that's why, like, the few times I know for a fact I've been around extraterrestrial stuff, it's that type of feeling. And um talking with Chris Bledsoe as well, he sees orbs all the time every day. And I've been done CE5s with him, and he like I explained that and he goes, "Yeah, that's them. That's, that's the love that they have excuse me, the love that they have for us. So you felt that. That's how you can tell if you're in the presence of them and not our military." And I was like, "Oh, interesting. Okay." So, yeah, that's how I know what an ET would feel like, I guess. Are you reading the comment?
Yeah. Oh no, I was looking. Linda Judd was commenting. The first ghost I saw was an apparition. I could still see his details, so I contacted some psychic medium as a go-between to help me talk to him. Turns out he didn't know he was dead. Then I asked if he wanted help to cross over. He said yes, but let me say goodbye to friends.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I find curious, and thank you for bringing that up, Linda, is, we go to these locations and like Waverly, where there's a lot of imprinted trauma energy there, but yet you never hear of anyone saying they want to leave. They want to be freed.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they're so attached to being at that location and don't want to go anywhere else?
Well, I haven't had that experience. Well, I mean, I was only there the one time, and none of us well, I don't know if anybody else asked, but I didn't ask if they wanted to be freed. Um Chris Fleming, when I go investigations with him, if certain spirits come through, he does ask that. At Tinker Swiss Cottage, we've had a couple, I guess you could call them walk-ins, spirits that just walked into Tinker Cottage and was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they like this one spirit got murdered, and he had a lot of like he wanted vengeance for his death and everything, and we pretty much we were like, "Well, you can't cross over if you want that. Like, you need to come to peace with that. It's horrible what happened to you." And we were actually able to cross that spirit over. Um, I think there's like an in between. Like, I think there's spirits that are still kind of in our realm, and then there's ones that have crossed over and they come back. Chris actually has the same thing. Like, "Oh, this spirit's already crossed over." But they're here looking out for somebody or for you, or um they're here helping other people or helping other spirits, but they've crossed over. So I think it depends, I guess, on the person. Some people at Waverly it might be a timeline and they're not ghosts, so they're not going to ask to, be let free. Or there's ones that might feel like they're stuck there, like maybe they don't even really realize what's going on, and they don't might not have the opportunity, like, who knows?
Yeah, I just think it's kind of interesting because
Yeah.
all these places people go to, they're like, "Oh, we crossed this person or we helped this person," but you never really hear that from Waverly.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've only been there the one time, and um trying to think. My friend Larry was there, and he didn't really talk about like crossing them over. I mean, who I don't know.
Well,
I'd have to like talk to somebody, be like, "Hey, did you ask to cross anybody over? Did they say no?"
yeah, and I mean, we have to be careful doing that too
Oh yeah.
because it's, you want to make sure they go to the right place, and I'm not talking heaven versus hell.
Yeah,
I'm just
the right
mean,
dimension.
yeah, they're going back to their source and not getting going back to another dimension and going,
Mhm.
well, what do I do now?
Right.
I don't even know where I am.
Well, before the time runs out, I'm gonna talk about the thing with my ma real quick, if that's cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I asked Michael if this was okay. He said yes. So on January 24th, I live in Illinois, and that was the -40-degree day that we had here. My mom and my stepdad had a really bad house fire that destroyed the house that they were living in. They're both on disability, so they have like no income and they don't have like a savings account or anything. They're okay. And the animals that my mom works at a shelter and she looks after animals and stuff. All the animals are okay. I gave Michael a link for the GoFundMe and I've got pictures and stuff of the, I guess you could say, disaster. So I'm asking if anybody's able to. Every little bit helps. I do have a goal so they're able to stay like in the temporary house that they're at until insurance actually picks up their feet and does something, because I'm sure everybody knows insurance is a scam and they don't really care. Um, so the little bit that I've been able to get from friends and people I know has helped them get new clothes and food and stuff, because like anything cloth is gone like from the house. A lot of the appliances are going to be trashed from what I understand too from my mom. um and then I also have like Venmo. I've had people send me stuff via Venmo or Cash App or PayPal, because GoFundMe does take fees. I found that out. My Venmo is Jessiy H. So how I spell my name, JESSIYH. I believe that's my Cash App too. And then I think anything PayPal related, you might have to search for my name, or Zelle as well. If anybody wants to do that, you can find me on Facebook by Jessiy Hawthorne. I think I've got a picture of me playing a bass right now. I don't have the cool background right now. If you want to talk to me through Facebook, don't contact Michael. He's not my agent. So any help would be greatly appreciated. I do know a lot of people, and I wanted to try and help out some really caring people that pretty much have done nothing but good for their whole lives. Like my mom's one of the kindest person or people that I've ever met. All she does is volunteer and take care of animals, whether it be ones she helps outside that she finds, or she fosters animals to get them back into a healthy home. So any help would be appreciated. She actually told me, nobody knows about us, Jess. Nobody cares about us, so nobody's going to help us. So I'm trying to prove her wrong and say that they do matter, just like everybody matters. Everybody matters. Everybody has their own purpose and everything in life, and nobody should feel isolated and like they don't matter. So anything would be appreciated, and I appreciate it so much. So Jessiy Hawthorne on Facebook, if you want to message me and ask for any more information, and then he's got the GoFundMe link on the bottom of the screen. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, and make sure when you look up her name, because she and I had a lot of back and forth on this. It's spelled Jessiy.
Yep. Oh God, I gotta
Uh,
be the weirdo. I can't help it.
no, she's talking about me being an agent in full transparency, because I was like, yeah, people have a tendency to come to me to get a hold of my guests, and I'm like, with everything going on, I'm like, if you really want help, just put your information out there, and,
Right.
don't make me the middleman. And so that's where that little fun comes from. And Linda Judd is saying the spirits, those ghosts that crossed over and came back, are safer to be around because they relearned how to get energy from Earth.
Yep.
Ghosts take their energy from live beings.
Yep. I agree with that.
And then she says, learning self love is so important.
Oh,
Yes,
it
it is.
is. It is. I learned that the hard way. So I do love myself, and some people like they don't understand how a lot of I mean, I'm sure everybody gets attacked, and there is, I think we talked about it before, the paranormal drama, and I don't let any of that crap bother me. I'm just like, just keep me out of it. I don't care. Like I'm me. I like who I am as a person. You don't, I'm sorry you don't. That's not my problem.
Yeah. I'm wondering too with your home, your that you grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
You say the woods got chopped down like half of it. I
Yeah.
remember in our episode you were talking about there was a spot in the woods that you went to where you saw like a ritual taking place and then
Oh, that was the
left.
cemetery that was a little bit down the road from my house. Uh,
Okay, because I was curious if that was part of the teardown and was like,
no,
ooh,
so the area is, I really don't like to look at it this way, but it seems there's history there that's very, very dark, and there's still people practicing very dark stuff, and I don't know, worship, if you want to put it that way, for money and power, because that town that I grew up in is kind of run by a couple families. And if you don't have that last name, you get ostracized. I didn't have that last name. And these people have mansions and property and cars and horses and all of this. And one of the times that I did see a ritual going around, like, I don't know, in the field, because we were just driving around at nighttime, country, bored. Um, Me and two friends saw like fire, and like torches, I guess you could say, as well as like a kind of a bonfire. And then we saw robed figures around it, and we were like, what? Like this? No, that's TV. That's movie shit. That's not real. Like nobody does that. Like what the hell? And then because we were in a car, I'm sure they heard the car on the gravel. Three of them turned around and started walking towards us. And my friend that was, driving was like, fuck this. And he hit the gas. I was in the back seat and I flew back, and we were just driving around talking about it. Like, what was that? What did we accidentally like stumble into? To this day, I still don't know. And then there's the cemetery that's literally the same distance. So from my house and my property, one way is where we saw the ritual, and the opposite direction is where the cemetery was that had the disturbed graves, as well as the pentagram that was made out of gravestones, and then like an altar made out of gravestones with candle wax on it. And that's where me and some friends went just to check it out. And all of us almost died within 2 weeks. I talked about that last time.
right.
So yeah, it's interesting to me how there were these certain we got a map, and we put like little pins on these points of where all this weird shit happened or stuff we saw, and it literally formed a pentagram, and my house was in the middle. So the Indian burial ground was in the middle, and then all the weird shit was little points outside of it. That was, oh god, when was that? That was like 2006 or 7, I think. So still when it was when I was still living there with my mom. So that was definitely interesting finding that out.
Yeah, and you mentioned now that you have Spire, and
Yes.
so tell us about it.
So it's the team I'm a part of. My friend Ed Levin, he's the lead investigator. Um, I met them a little bit over 2 years ago at one of the first expos that I did, and we all became friends. And then we just were at the same investigations a lot. So I joined the team last year, and let's see, one of the actually there was an investigation this past Saturday. I unfortunately couldn't make it. We had to put my fiance's cat to sleep on Saturday.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry.
yeah, thanks. So I wasn't gonna be a dick and be like, bye, I'm going on an investigation. So I was like, guys, I can't make it. And they're like, okay, we'll live later. So they do Facebook lives. And I joined, and I was picking up information through the freaking phone, which was cool. Like they were, going around in the basement, and there was this one tiny room that had a chair, and like, I don't know, I got like tall angry man. So I was like, guys, there's like a tall angry man in there or something. And this was before they even like they didn't say anything. I just joined the live and I'm giving them the information that I'm seeing. And then they went panned around and there was this dark corner. I'm like, I think there's a little girl back there. And sure enough, Mike, who also is a psychic, he was on the live. He goes, there's a little girl back there. And then when they went upstairs, because it was a bar and grill, they were panning around the bar, and there was the bar, and then the stools, and then on the wall there was all those like stupid like slot machines or whatever, the games, video games or whatever it is that they have in bars now. Um,
Right.
so I saw that, but I didn't see it. I visually saw it, but in my head, this image popped up of like girls in flapper outfits, guys with the fedoras, like 1920s type of shit, just like popped into my head real quick. And so I was like, okay, I don't know why, but when you were panning around, I saw like an image of 1920s like flapper dresses, the music and like prohibition type of stuff era. And sure enough, that was accurate. That place was open then, so more than likely they were a part of all of that. So I was like, holy crap, that's cool. So I'm doing like the psychic shit like through live, which I haven't really been able to do that much. I had a one-on-one with Chris Fleming in early January, and so he was, well, for one, he was giving me shit. He's like, you don't need my help, Jess. Like, what the hell? I was like, I don't know. Like, I wanted to try. And he's like, no, you're good. You don't need my help. And he was telling me one of the things I should do is like set intentions and everything. Like, I want to communicate with positive beings. Whoever's here, please come and communicate with me. So I was itching for an investigation. So I was like, yay, I'm going on one. And then I couldn't go. So I was like, all right, I'll try the live. And that still worked. So I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool. We also investigated a different bar in December. They don't want their name out there, so I can't really say. So undisclosed location, and we got some cool evidence. We actually have so we had like apps going on the phone. I know a lot of people are skeptical about that, and I am too. But it was just interesting because we had static cameras set up and some of the apps going through speakers. And when we were going through the evidence, like Ed would ask a question like, oh, are you Johnny James or whatever he would say, are you so and so, was, and then you hear yes as an EVP from the camera, and then the app said the same thing. That happened on 4 different occasions. I think another question was like, were you whacked? Because there was mob stuff that went on there, and it said we heard yes on the camera and then yes on one of the phone apps. So that was kind of interesting. I've never experienced that before where you get both. Usually it's just one, but you heard the whisper and then you heard the app say it. So that was really cool. So
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you were talking about the first bar when you first started describing it. I heard a voice in my head go "speakeasy," and
oh,
then you
cool.
said, "Oh, that they were in during," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a
Yep.
speakeasy."
That's interesting and that's cool. So yeah, it's Spire, SPIRE Paranormal. It's on Facebook. Um, but we also do like home investigations and everything, like an actual paranormal team. The card actually says got ghosts, we can help. So it's fun being a part of a team. Because like I can go to investigations, more frequently, and then be able to use my abilities more and understand them better. Because the last time I talked to you, I was getting stuff here and there, and now I'm getting more because I'm trying to open up more. So that's definitely been fun. I'm actually going to Edinburgh Manor in Iowa. I think it's Sugar Grove or something, Iowa. Destination Fear went there, and a few other people have been there in April. And then I'm also going to Ashmore Estates in Illinois, June 13th. So those are 2 places that are, not 12 hours away, and they're,
Okay.
around the area, and they've had a lot of activity, and like Jack Osborne's been there, Katrina Weidman, Nick Groff, you name it. They've been to these locations. So I'm really excited. It's like Waverly Hills. Like that was the first famous location I was at.
Yeah. There, with you being, raised on Indian burial ground, there's a location in Illinois. It's on the south side near St. Louis, Missouri, that I'm like wondering, if
Right.
you've ever investigated there. And it is a state park, so I
The
wouldn't like
Cuyahoga Mounds.
Cahokia, yeah.
I haven't been there. I've driven past it. I haven't been there yet, like to investigate. I really want to though. Um, when we go to Ashmore, actually, there's I think the biggest cemetery or the oldest cemetery in Illinois is in Decatur, which is technically on our way home from Ashmore. So Steve's dying to stop there. Like this past year, he wanted to go graveyarding a lot, so we went to Graceland Cemetery for the first time, which is a famous Chicago cemetery, and Rose Hill, which is another famous Chicago cemetery. So we went to both. And then we found out his aunt is actually buried at Graceland. So we actually listened to my dowsing rods on where her grave was, because the information that he got was incorrect. We're like, well, it's supposed to be here and it's not. And I'm like, let me try the dowsing rod. So I pull them out and they were pointing to where we needed to go. So that was really neat.
It's it's kind of funny you'd say that, having that trouble is Bonnie Parker is buried in Dallas near where I live.
Hmm.
And we were going, and there's like no real guidance or anything. And I was like, oh, well, everything says it's over here
Hmm.
by this landmark. And I asked this one groundskeeper, and I was like, he goes, yeah. He gets in his truck and actually drives the cemetery, and I follow him to the location. He's like, it's right there. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then there's Bonnie and her mom, and they were supposedly last year going to move Bonnie to be with Clyde because he's in another cemetery, but I don't know that ever went through. And I question if that's even possible at this point. I mean, when you think about they were buried in the 30s,
Hmm.
the 1930s, it's almost 2030. So, that's 100 years.
Yeah.
I don't think that they would have been put in like ultra fancy coffins. And so I'm like
Yeah.
imagining, if you dug it up, would there one even be a coffin, and two, would there even really be a body, because everything dissolves and
Yeah.
returns back? And so I'm like, would it be just, you symbolically say, hey, we dug you up and now we're putting you over here, even though there's nothing to put over there?
Right. That's something Steve and I have talked about before too, actually.
Yeah, and Linda actually has a question for
Yeah,
you.
I see that. Yeah. Um, actually, I don't. I've never had my name called, but I also haven't used anything like speaker wise, spirit box or anything, and I've never heard it like audibly, and I've never heard it like psychically in my head. So I've never really had my name called when I go to cemeteries, but it's also more relatively new that we're doing that. We only did it a couple times towards the end of the year last year. So technically, I've only been graveyarding 4 times last year. So, but we've always wanted to do it. We just never had the time. And oh yeah, I didn't even get a chance to tell you this. I got laid off in October, the day before Halloween. So I'm looking for work right now, and he's working his job. And before, we had no days off together. Now we do. So when it was nice out, that's when we were, going graveyarding and stuff.
Nothing says loving like graveyarding.
Right.
She says graveyards are technically different than cemeteries.
That's true. There's a difference. My fiance calls it graveyarding, so that's why I say that.
Yeah. Uh, so
Oh, one.
any hmm?
111.
111.
The live, it says 111. Like an
Oh,
hour and 11 minutes.
I was like, you threw me off because I was thinking, wait, what angel number 111? Where are we seeing that? But I'm kind of curious too with all that you do and everything. If you had the chance to go, places, what would be your bucket list?
I've been asked that a lot recently. Like if money wasn't involved and all that, where would you really want to go? Um, Honestly, when it comes to like history and haunted locations, probably like Scotland or Ireland. One of those because they have like the castles and it's beautiful there. And I hear so much about it from like from Chris Fleming when we chit chat. He talks a lot about
Yeah.
that. I love Fae and believe in them, and they're very known in both of those countries, in Scotland and Ireland. So I'd love to come in contact with them.
Oh yeah, you can't build a house in Ireland or Scotland without approval from the Fae.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. So, do you have any advice or any message or anything that you want to share with the audience?
Um, I mean, I've been up to a lot lately. I unfortunately don't have many expos this coming year. With no income, I haven't been able to like pay the vendor fees. But I am doing some investigations this year, and then I have the sound baths. I'm doing sound baths now around the area, so that's been fun. So one thing though that I've learned and noticed, when you are on the right path, the universe will make it really easy for you, or they'll give you signs. So the day that I got laid off, I was like, it was the day before Halloween, and I'm like freaking out. And I literally, I was on an investigation literally like 2 weeks prior, and with Chris Fleming, and he said he asked the spirits, how can Jessiy contact her spirit guides? Like, what should she do? Like especially to make sure she's talking to the right spirits. And they literally said, pray to your dad, because my dad passed when I was 10, and I was the past like month before that, I kept feeling like I need to talk to my dad. Like I need to say, "Hey dad," and talk to him. And so Chris said that and I was like, "Holy crap. Okay. I've already been doing that." Noted. So when I got laid off, I'm walking out to my car and I literally said, "Dad, can you please show me signs that everything's going to be okay and that things are going like how they should be going? Can you show me angel numbers so I know that things are okay and that I'm headed down the right path?" I swear to God, every single day I see 1 to 4, like 111, 222, 333, 444, especially like the time. Like I've literally taken probably over 100 screenshots of my phone from looking at my phone just to see what time it is, and it's that time, and I take a screenshot. So that's like when you're on the right path, and if you need guidance, ask. Say, can you please show me in this form so I understand? Because spirit guides could try to give you signs all damn day, and if it doesn't click with you, you're not going to get them. So you need to be specific. Like, I need this to know I'm on the right path, and that's what I did, and that's what I got, and I'm still getting.
Yeah, I mean, look at you just pointed out 111.
Yep, I just happened to look over.
Very cool. Well, before we wrap up and say goodnight, on this special episode. There is something new that I do on the shows. And before I do that, Linda says,
I
ask
see
your
that
dad if he wants to help with your ghost investigations.
he
Nice
has.
connector.
He's come through before. And we have a phrase or two words, let's put it that way, that I hear or I listen for to know it's him. So he knows. So he's telling me, "Hey, it's me. I'm here." So I've been able to do that twice now. So that's been fun.
Very cool. All right. Well, I have a message for you.
Ooh.
From my heart and the heart of my show, thank you for what you're doing for humanity and everything. It
Aw.
is seen, heard, and felt. It's appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's nice. And you were the first person to do something like that. So you get props for that.
Oh, I started it, I think, like mid season last year, and
Mhm.
it kind of just stuck. And
Yeah.
uh, I like it. It's kind of nice. It's,
And you
you
never know,
know,
that could always brighten somebody's day too. Like, my mom always taught me, always be kind. You never know what somebody's going through. And even just telling somebody that they look nice can make someone's day.
yeah.
It was
And
nice
there
to meet
you
you,
go.
Linda.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us and updating us. And ironically, I'm going to say thank you for going to the episode to see what was we shared and what we wanted to share but didn't get to, so we could get to it tonight. So, and we managed to get to all of our topics tonight.
Mhm.
So, thank you for that. And
Yeah,
thank you for reaching out and asking to come back on again. And keeping in touch. So thank you for
of
that.
course. Yeah, I'm always open to come back on and everything. I like to talk and I like to share experiences and show people that, it's okay. Nobody's alone in this and we're all together. And as long as we love each other, that's what matters.
Exactly. Couldn't say it better myself. And with that, I think that's a good out point. And so we will say good night to everybody.
Night, everybody.
Tomorrow, yeah, sorry, tomorrow we have channeling with Starseed Lolo at 3 to 3:30. And then Lindsay Brooke is coming on tomorrow night for the regular episode time. So be sure to tune in for that. And with that, I'm going to say good night, blessings, hope to everyone. Good night.
Night. Bye, everybody.